suggestions specifically on claims directed at diagnostic methods?
That's a really good question. I think that diagnostic patents probably are even more difficult than claims to natural products right now. I would say start when you're drafting the specification, beef it up, include a lot of technical details, talk about the assays, talk about samples, talk about detection methods. And consider including that also in some claims. For example, if you have a claim that recites using a specific dose of a compound or marker or using a specific detection method, that might give you a leg up in trying to argue that this should be patent eligible. As far as strategy, it's somewhat similar to what Eli mentioned, perhaps keeping in mind that there is a longer, usually life science inventions have a longer runway and more time. Is maybe consider going for narrower claims first, that includes some limitations, and then buy your time. I do think that eventually, the law is going to change. The pendulum is going to swing back towards patentability, whether it's going to be legislative change or the courts maybe are going to make some inroads towards a more reasonable interpretation. So, take advantage of, take extensions of time, file continuation, maybe go to something that's less important just to buy more time, because maybe in a few years you will be able to get the actual claim that you want.
Eli Mazur, how long do you think it's going to be before we get some clarity?
I'm not too optimistic, since it is going to require probably, like I said, I don't think the courts are going to be able to resolve this. It's going to require some legislation, and as you probably know from the news, it's going to take a while. But I don't see it happening anytime in the immediate future, and by that I mean in the next 2 years or so. But I'm guessing more and more there's going to be more pushback from companies that need this kind of protection for long-term investments, and eventually the Congress will hear it and make those changes to the 101 statute.